Ben Dealer, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Bryce Jordan, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Hey, this is JaredThumb, and you are watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Wrestling fans, if you want the best wrestling news, you want to watch Shotgun Wrestling Radio. This is James Jeffries, and tell them that I sent you there. Yeah!
What's up, everybody? It's Leon King here, of course, the baddest of the baddest, and you are now listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
I am Eric S. Knight.
And I'm Malik Champion.
And we are the chosen prodigal sons, and this is the Shotgun Wrestling Radio podcast.
This is your Deathmatch Daddy Bo guy, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Hey everybody, this is Brock Anderson, and you are watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is Augustus Draven, and you're watching Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
This is the Feline Phenom, JT Energy, and you're experiencing Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takis, and we are continuing our countdown and preview to Central Empire Wrestling Mall Madness 2, which goes down next Saturday, February the 15th at the Penn Central Mall in Oskaloosa, Iowa. And my guest tonight, his year, in my opinion, really kicked off with last year's Mall Madness. Yeah, the big battle royal that this man won, earning him a future shot at the CEW title, which he then cashed in at last year's Bridge City Slam, giving us one of the most epic endings we've ever seen for a Central Empire Wrestling show. And at this time, I'm going to welcome in my guest, the one, the only, the CEW champion, Mr. JaredThumb. Jared, what's up, bud? And look at that beautiful title. Look at that.
Not too much. I'm doing pretty good. Relaxing, been hitting the gym, trying to train as hard as I can, getting ready for this next show.
And that's just right, man. Again, our Central Empire Wrestling, I'm going to call it, year really kicks off here next Saturday, Mall Madness 2. We're back at the Penn Central Mall. Let's go back to last year's mall show. Again, the battle royal that you were in, you had legends of the past and the present, obviously guys from the future in there. You finally won that battle royal to earn your future shot. What was kind of going through your mindset, man, during that battle royal to kind of, like I said, to really what I felt like kind of kicked off your run here in Central Empire Wrestling?
Well, I mean, if you remember who started that match, it was me and Damian Saint. And, well, our odds, we had to go from start all the way to finish. Automatically knowing that, I'm like, well, this is going to be a long, long night. Because I competed in a match before that night. And then I came into the Rumble, and then I'm like, okay, it's time to lock it in, and it's time to get serious. And going through the grueling battle through that entire Rumble with everybody coming out, the legends and everything, man, I just try to keep my eyes on the prize. And, that's the one thing you have to do in order to succeed. And it ended with me and Saint one-on-one in that Rumble, and he went out with a stunner, which he didn't like that too much. But, man, after going through it all, it was a big, deep breath of relief. And, okay, I have the shot, and I was hinting towards it the entire time. Every good hunter knows when to take the right shot. So I knew that was the time to be like, all right, let's go hunting.
And the funny thing was, too, like earlier in the night, I remember getting to Bridge City Slam here earlier in the night when me and Dylan, my co-host, were doing commentary. I said during your match with Sato, I said, don't forget, he has the briefcase where he can cash in at any time. And sure enough, man, let's take it to Bridge City Slam. You and Damian Saint once again have the match of the night at Bridge City Slam. I said on the broadcast, I said I don't think these two will be done with each other until one of them has to bury the other. And I mean, man, I don't know what it is about you two. I know you guys hate each other, but when you get in the ring, man, there's just something about you two's chemistry that is just like it's just one of those things you can feel it when you guys are in the ring together.
Yeah, so going into that matchup, well, the year prior, I'll go back to Bridge City Slam 5.
Yep.
I didn't have a family. So like I'm going in and I'm like basically going no matter what happens, if I destroy myself and destroy him, that's fine. This year I'm going in, I have a family I have to take care of. I have to be able to provide for my family when I get home. So there's a lot more animosity going in preparing for that one than there was 2 years ago. And, as soon as, he goes out, I hear, the one segment we had before us, the boogeyman did the worms. And then, I'm watching from a side and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be one hard thing to top. But he goes out, I hear, people like Slipknot in Iowa. Once they hear unsainted instrumental, people are going nuts. And I'm like, okay. But as soon as I went out, you had to know the animosity was going to build. And for the first time ever in Bridge City Slam history, anybody brawled on the stage. And my dog's in here too. He's just being a good old boy. Like, who are you talking to? You're worrying me. But anyway, so like we were brawling on the stage and I knew it was going to be a fight. And well, he took his eyes off me one moment and thrown a chair at his head. And I look back and I see the blood just pouring right on the concrete floor. And like as soon as, oh man,
that was less than 5 minutes into the matchup too.
Yeah. So I'm just like watching that happen and everything. I'm like, oh. And then I hear the fans, as soon as they see his crimson mask, I can just hear the like the gasp of like, oh, is he okay? And it's like, you're going to get a fight. You knew what was going to happen. And then, throughout the match, there's other things going on. One thing that I remember I took it really, really hard. Both table spots that were there, I absolutely, I tried to spear them, and I went straight through that table. I damn near knocked myself out.
I remember that. I remember that spot too. I think I even said on the commentary, which you can watch this match that we're talking about on the Central Empire Wrestling YouTube page. Just search Central Empire Wrestling, you'll find it. I was like, I thought that did more damage to you than it did Saint, because man, you guys both took a hard hit with that table shot that night.
Yeah, the spear. Well, I went through the table twice. So he moved out of the one, and then he's trying to go ahead and suplex me. I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'm going to sacrifice myself. And Uranagi, rock bottom, whatever you want to call the move, we go through. I actually clipped the inner groin of my left leg on the corner of that table. And and I knocked the wind out of myself going through it too. So that was, at that point, it was like almost anyone's ball game to that point. Cause we ripped each other apart, and easily seeing that tag team photography, putting it as #1 match of the year. It's like, when we went through that table, it just felt like, oh man, these people This is something special. This is just something special that you can't just simply make. It has to be like organic. And Damian Saint, in a way, brings out the best in me, and I bring out the best in him because I think we're both fighting for the top prize in Central Empire Wrestling, as I've known his history of what he's been through, and he knows my history of what I've been through. And well, when all said and done, in Bridge City Slam 6, I put him down with a sledgehammer and stunner, and I pinned him. And if you missed it, or if anybody missed it, I looked back and I gave him one of those. I gave him a thumbs up because I knew something special happened that night. And it was like, man, you're a tough SOB and you put me through it. But tonight was just not his night. You know, it was my night. And to be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to cash in after that or not because I was feeling it pretty bad.
Yeah, and well, then again, let's get to that cash in moment. I was reminding folks during that match with Enzo and Rory that hey, Jared has the briefcase. Jared can cash in at any time, and it's one of those things. Storm Thomas comes down to the ring. And immediately for me, I had flashbacks to last year's Bridge City Slam when Jared and JT and Fowler were in the cage. Here comes Storm. Here comes Rory, and it was just all chaos broke loose. And so I wasn't sure what to expect. But yeah, then we got the cash in, man. And I even said that was probably, for me personally, one of my favorite commentary calls I got to do last year because it's not very often, and especially for Central Empire Wrestling, not very often that we get to call a new champion. So when you get those type of moments, you just have to let it fly like one of the best. That was for me one of my personal favorites was being able to call you winning that title at Bridge City Slam. I mean, that was just such a fun moment.
Yeah, so it was very funny how the entire cash in happened because I finally decided, you know what? Yeah, tonight's the night. So Storm goes out there and, hits Rory with the spine buster and everything. And he does the who's house and gets the crowd to say Storm's house. And he says, no, 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 not tonight. And he points at the curtain. I don't think anybody after the match I had with Damian Saint expected the cash in at all because my music didn't get hit. And, everybody, the crowd was like silent, like, wait, what's going on? It's like that animosity of who's coming out. So, me being who I am, I was like, maybe I should wait for the music to hit. 10 seconds goes by. It's like, no, I'm going to give Rory too much time to recover. And then you just see my nice blue collar tan line butt coming out with all those lights, and it goes from silence to sky high reaction right away. So as soon as that happened, I had goosebumps all over me. The bell gets rang and I hit Rory with the stunner and then the 3 count. I had so much emotion going through me. Like I had tears building up in my eyes. I had happiness inside of me as well. And, just every bit of emotion you can think of. So after that, I'm pretty sure everybody saw Storm Thomas stopped and was talking to me one-on-one there. The things he was saying was to get me mentally ready and prepared to be champion because he said tonight is the special night, but remember, you have a big bullseye on your back now. And he told me I am a crowd favorite and everything, big crowd favorite and everything right now. but I have an opportunity to go from just being everybody's guy to being a legend in Central Empire Wrestling. You know, it's my responsibility as champion not only to carry Central Empire Wrestling and bring it to bigger heights this year, but to also be a leader in all aspects of our show. So the responsibilities of it is a lot. And that night, like, I had my head held high and I was just happy to be champion. Had a couple of brewskis, but as soon as it was over, I automatically started thinking, what's coming next?
And again, what's coming next for you begins next Saturday, February the 15th. Mall Madness 2. That's right. Central Empire Wrestling is returning to the Penn Central Mall for Mall Madness once again. And before I get to your match that they have, I'm going to run down some of the other matchups that we got coming in. We got some newcomers coming in to Central Empire Wrestling, which is always fun. One of the matches we have is the Death Dealer versus Jimmy Wild. Damian Saint versus Bo Gott. Tag team titles be on the line as Donnie Pepper Cricket and the Iceman go up against the tag team known as the 319 with Ethan Everhart and Jay Wesley. And Bryce Jordan will be making his Central Empire Wrestling debut as he goes up against a mystery opponent. So, again, a star-studded night of action for Central Empire Wrestling. For more information on tickets, head over to Central Empire Wrestling's Facebook page. Click the link, get your advance tickets. It's going to be an absolute blast, and I can't wait. And especially for you, because like I said, your journey really kicks off here next Saturday. And I guess it's only fitting that your first match is against the man that you beat, Rory Fox. Rory was, he's been multiple times CEW champion. He's gonna be a first ballot Central Empire Wrestling Hall of Fame member when that time comes. I have no doubt in my mind he will be that Central Empire Wrestling Hall of Famer. So knowing you now you're not chasing, you're being chased. What's going through your mindset now of the difference between being the chaser and being chased? What's the difference for you, you think?
Well, the difference, like, that I can really put it into good perspective, I love hunting, right? And a lot of people will only hunt deer or elk, things that can't attack you. But what happens when you hunt a bear? What happens when you hunt a wolf or a moose? You have probability of getting seriously hurt or, your life being gone. In this situation, Rory Fox is hunting me. And the best thing I can say is some things aren't meant to be hunted because you're about to get hunted yourself and taken care of.
And again, this is all going down next Saturday, Mall Madness in Oskaloosa, Iowa. I believe the majority of our shows that we're doing in Oskaloosa this year will be at the Penn Central Mall. So it's just the start of what's going to be a really exciting year for Central Empire Wrestling going down this next Saturday. So, man, so it's been a while since we've had you on the pod. Kind of want to let people get into your mind a little bit. Now that you're champion, are there any other different types of preparation you do for matches? As opposed to when you were I don't want to say chasing, but when you weren't champion, is there anything that you feel you're going to do differently ahead of your match as far as pre-match rituals go?
The one thing I usually do is I get on my knee and I do a prayer and everything. Instead of just doing it right here, probably put my hand right on that title because this is what it's all about. This is what I busted my tail for almost 8 years to get to this position. And just preparing for any type of match, my workouts, like now, I haven't been able, like in the past, to keep consistently hitting that gym the way I wanted to, but I've been hitting the gym like a madman recently, and you look at Bridge City Slam 5, I was a little bit thinner. You look at Bridge City Slam 6, I was starting to get some repetitions and some bulk back. Since I've been training, I've put on about, I want to say, 20 pounds of muscle. So I'm not coming back just a regular kid or anything. No, I'm coming back a bona fide man that's ready to take a hit. Because I know, regardless of what it is, people are going to be looking at me at all times. Like, I can get jumped. I can get, just attacked out of nowhere by anyone at any moment. And I want to make sure my body is at top prime condition to recover or take whatever's coming my way.
And again, speaking of that, it's with all the newcomers that we're gonna have coming in Central Empire Wrestling. Just like I said, just to name a few, you got Bryce Jordan coming in here this week. He's no stranger to the Iowa independent scene. Are there any newcomers that are coming in on this current show that you're looking forward to seeing up close firsthand that you haven't seen yet, or that you just want to kind of keep your eye on? Because again, Iowa right now is in such a great spot for independent pro wrestling. I mean, I just posted on the Shotgun Wrestling Radio page the amount of shows running for the month of February, and it's actually kind of shocking when you think about there's still a show every weekend, and it's February. Before, promoters used to kind of be scared to run shows in February in Iowa because you don't know.
Yeah. I remember that one time in January, a blizzard just wants to hit us, and I was ready to go, man.
And that was the only damn snowfall we got all last year, too, was that week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, really? Couldn't have held off like another week?
Literally. Like, any other time of the year would have been fine, but when it's like show days, Mother Nature, do some jobs for us performers for once and stay away.
I mean, I was looking ahead at the weather the other day, and as of right now, next weekend is looking okay. So anybody worried, just kind of start looking and preparing. If that's why you haven't bought your tickets yet, that's fine. Tickets will be available at the door, so do not worry about tickets not being available at the door, because they most certainly will be. But getting back to the question, man, is there anybody that's coming in that you haven't really seen up close that you're kind of looking to getting to see a little bit closer now that we're kind of starting to bring in some fresh blood here to the Central Empire Wrestling?
Well, the funny thing is, I was actually, when I was at the gym earlier, I was talking to Crotch, one of the trainers at Black and Brave, and I was telling him, like, dude, there's like a certain few that have been at CEW a couple of times, but, venture off to other promotions and everything. But we also have the newcomers coming in. And it's like, this show has a lot of new talent coming in. And I can't really put my crosshairs on one performer, especially being champion. You have to watch them all and get a good idea of how everybody works. That way, when you face them in the ring, you're ready to go. You're ready to take them on, and you're ready to beat them. So, as far as I'm concerned, every single person that's newer or is coming back or, has been there, just know I'm watching. I'm making sure I know what the list is and who the contenders are.
Now, again, you're the champion now. You're still pretty young in the wrestling business when you can, all things considered, and you just recently added to your family here within the last, I believe, year or so. You added a little. You're now a dad. How do you find the balance between family and wrestling? Because I always tell people, and I'm sure you're the same way. Your family has to come first. So how do you find that? How do you try to find that sweet balance, man? Because I know it's a lot more easier for me, I feel like, as a commentator or broadcaster than it is, I'm sure, for you guys as performers. So how do you try to find that balance?
So mainly I try to make sure I have days on the weekends off for like a Friday and don't really go too far away. I haven't had a booking out of state since probably last year. And this boy probably wants a treat. He's getting all bent out of shape. But anyways, you know, that's funny because like it goes back to one thing last year. I had a booking out of state and I was supposed to be in their tournament for the championship and stuff. But literally 2 days before that show, I had to pull off because my son was born 2 days before that show. And like life happens and everything, but yeah, wrestling does come first. But since he's been here, I haven't taken a booking out of state. Not saying I'm not willing to go out of state to wrestle. It's just how can I make this work at home? And one of the things that I make sure is, am I doing everything I need to in order to keep the household held down? Because outside family, working the job, making sure everything's, up to date. And well, my girl, I'll be straight up, she is Wonder Woman. She does it all, but there's certain points where there needs to be more work done. So the one thing I do is if there's wrestling shows coming up, communicate. Hey, there's a show this day. Do we have people watch kids, or are you going to be able to be good here? Like, I don't go out and I've never really been a partier. As soon as I'm done wrestling, I just go home. So like I'm a very big homebody when it comes to it, and just making sure that everything is in order from my side of things, which it's hard to really explain because there's one day can be X, Y, and Z, but the other day can be A, B, C. And it really just depends on what's going on. But other than that, it's really not too hard to do because, building a relationship with her two kids and, raising our kid, it's a lot with three in the house. But I mean, I'm trying to be Superman, for him, and the one thing I want to make sure they know is I don't leave and wrestle because I like to leave and wrestle. Like I do, but I want them to know when they get older, this is a dream of mine that I've had since their age. I want them to look at this and be like, I have a dream to, I don't know, be a fireman. I'm going to grow up and be a fireman. That's the example I'm trying to set for them, which is what makes it pretty easy to balance it all. And, the two older boys, they love watching me wrestle. My 8-month, almost 9-month-old, he does not like the noise right now, but it'll come in time. But, it's just being a good family, man. Just do everything you have to do. And, wake up in the middle of the night more with the kid, feed him when he needs fed, and take care of those, night shifts. And for God's sake, she grew the baby. She can get a break. The dad can do some things. So, that's like one thing is just I try to be here when I am, and when I'm gone, I want to make sure everything's in order.
Now, one thing I've been starting to ask more and more guests that have been coming on, this is kind of a fun little question. We're gonna fantasy book here. With everything that's happened in wrestling since you've been a fan, If there is one thing in wrestling you could go back in time and change the booking of, what would it be? And what would you change the booking to?
If there any promotion,
Yep, any promotion anywhere, just as
okay,
long as you've been a fan.
I'd go back to 2001 and not turn Stone Cold Steve Austin heel.
My man! My
Because
man!
funny thing is, after he turned heel, I saw a house show with my dad, and he was a heel going out as the champ. And, he's trying to be a bad guy, but the entire arena is chanting, Austin, Austin. And me too. Like,
Yep.
Stone Cold's my favorite wrestler of all time. And, it's just like, I feel like he never really needed to turn heel.
Yep.
And he could have always just been anti-hero, babyface Stone Cold, and would have been fine. Even with the alliance angle, I don't think he needed to be in the alliance after knowing the stories of WCW.
Yep. Well, and even now, like I've heard Steve years later say, if he could go back and change one thing, he's like, if I could go back and change one thing, I would have shaken Vince's hand, pulled him in, given him a stunner, and then said, "Not today." Because I'm like, yeah, that's probably for me. If I were to answer that question, that would be my big, turn. I'd say, yeah, that's probably one I would have gone back and into time and change. But yeah, it's just again, it's just stuff like that for me is fun. I enjoy it. I mean, there's so much history in wrestling. You can go back decades and say, oh, well, I would have had Macho beat Hogan at WrestleMania or whatever it be. And so, well, we got just a few more minutes left here of our time, man. You're going in next Saturday, you versus Rory Fox. I'm going to give you an open mic now. Talk to your opponent. Talk to Rory. Let him know what's coming next Saturday at the Penn Central Mall in Oskaloosa, Iowa.
Well, where I can start is, Rory, I know you very, very well. As a matter of fact, back in 2020, you took me under your wing to become Central Empire Wrestling Tag Team Champions. And you always told me, do things the right way and you'll go a long way, kid. And I took that advice and I ran with it all these years. And even when you blew your quad out and you were out, I still showed support for you and bought a t-shirt and wore it proudly to shows. But the next Bridge City Slam, you not only turned on the fans, you turned on me. So I've been watching you this entire time, hoping that you would see that as a mistake, and you didn't. And Rory, as far as this goes, this Saturday, I know you are a very, very good mat wrestler and technician, but you know me and you know I am a hard hitter and I don't go down without a fight. So, Rory, from former tag partner to former tag partner, I'd lace those boots really tight and try to be sly like a fox. Because when I catch you in the act, it's going to be click, click, boom. 1, 2, 3. And Rory, I respect you, but I'm only putting you down and winning and retaining my title, not just because I am and will be the champion Central Empire Wrestling needs, but because it's the right thing to do.
All right, there you heard it, folks, from the man himself, the CEW champion, Jared Thumb. Come see him defend his title for the very first time against Rory Fox next Saturday, February the 15th, Penn Central Mall, Oskaloosa, Iowa. Other matches we have currently scheduled: Damian Saint versus Bo Gott, the Death Dealer versus Jimmy Wild. The CEW tag team titles will be on the line as Donnie Pepper Cricket and the Iceman defend their titles against the team of the 319, Ethan Everhart and Jay Wesley. And speaking of Donnie Pepper Cricket, he will be my guest on the show next week as we head in to the final week leading up to show week. And we also, one more match that we have on the card for next week's show: Bryce Jordan versus a mystery opponent. Bryce Jordan making his Central Empire Wrestling debut here next week. Jared, my man, where can people follow you at on the social medias? You do a really good job at staying active. So where can people follow you?
I have a Facebook page. Just put Jared Thumb in. You'll find me. On Twitter, I believe it's at Jared Thumb, just no space. On Instagram, it's at Jared_Thumb. And on TikTok, it is at Jared_Thumb. And that should be all my. No, I also have YouTube. Just put in Jared Thumb. You'll find me on there too. Find some, blast from the past content and anything I throw up on there.
And again, come see Jared here next Saturday, February the 15th, Penn Central Mall. If you want to get advance tickets, go over to Central Empire Wrestling's Facebook page. Just search Central Empire Wrestling. Should be one of the very first posts that you'll see. You'll see a link that has the link to get tickets. Or again, if you want to wait till show day because you're not sure what the weather's going to be like, because it is February in Iowa, that's fine too. We're going to have tickets available at the door. So for Jared Thumb, for everybody at Central Empire Wrestling, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. And until next time, we'll see you right here on the World Wide Web.